All right, so as you're reviewing for quadratics, solving quadratics, pay attention to vocabulary with your graphs. As a reminder, the domain for all quadratics is all reals, meaning it goes to the left and the right forever. The range is talking about the y's. In this case, my y's are increasing, they're going up. So this y value is -4, and it's going up forever, so my y's are greater than or equal to -4. The vertex is this maximum or minimum point. In this case, it's a minimum because it's at the bottom of the graph. Maximum would be at the top. That vertex is that point -1, -4. It's an x and a y. -1, -4. My x-intercepts are the points where it crosses the x-axis. So in this case, 1 and -3. You can write that as x equals 1 and -3, or you can do 1, 0 and -3, 0. And last but not least, your y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis, is -3 or 0, -3. That's the key vocabulary to keep in mind. All right, open your booklet so you're looking at the back. All right, so if we're solving by factoring, now factoring specifically works when we know we can find a pair of numbers that multiplies to AC and adds to B. So the first thing we want to do is make sure it's in standard form. It has to be equal to 0 first. So I'm going to add this 12 to both sides. So that gives me x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. Now we're factoring. So first term in the first box, last term in the last box. From here, find me a pair of numbers that multiplies to AC and adds to B. A, B, C. So 1 times 12 is 12. So it multiplies to 12 and adds to -8. Again, if you cannot find those factors, do 12 divide by x in decimals and go to your gear and your table. All right, I know 6 times 2 is 12, and if I make them both negative, that also adds to -8. So I've got minus 6x minus 2x. From here, I'm pulling out the common factor from each row and column. So then I've got x minus 6 times x minus 2 equals 0. Set each piece to 0. And solve. Okay, so x equals 2, x equals 6. Pause the video as needed. Make sure you've got this written down. These are great examples to use for your test. All right, moving on. So after factoring, square roots. All right, we can use this method when there is no B term. So it's just something squared. Awesome, I can take the square root right away. That cancels. X minus 15 equals plus or minus. And in this case, I know the square root of 121 is 11. It comes out nicely. Let's get x by itself. I'm going to add 15 to both sides. So now I've got x equals 15 plus or minus 11. Now this says 15 plus 11, which is 26. And this also says 15 minus 11, which is 4. So my two answers are 4 and 26. All right, 2 down, 2 to go. All right, completing the square. B has to be even, and my A term also has to be 1. So I'm going to first move my C term to the right-hand side. X squared minus 12x plus something equals -15 plus something. All right, now I have to take my B value, divide it by 2, and then square it. My b value is negative 12, so I'm doing negative 12 divided by 2, which is negative 6. So I've got x minus 6, and then I have to square that. Negative 6 squared is 36. That's what goes on both sides. Okay, now if you're specifically asked what number has to be added to both sides to make it a perfect square trinomial, that is the 36. You do not have to go any further. Please make note of that. You need that information. All right, back to the big picture. Right here, negative 15 plus 36 is 21. Now I can square root both sides. Now it's just like the last one. Those cancel, x minus 6 equals, but I don't know the square root of 21. So I'm just going to leave it as square root of 21, and then I get to add 6. X equals 6 plus or minus square root 21. Done. All right, pause the video as needed, write down what you need here. All right, quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is the one that looks the worst, but it's actually the easiest to do. So first thing, make sure it's in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. So in this case, we got to move the 21. So 2x squared minus 3x minus 21 equals 0. A is 2, b is negative 3, c is negative 21. Now, you are just filling in quadratic formula. Parentheses are your best friend. So negative b, negative negative 3, plus or minus the square root of b, negative 3 squared minus 4 times a, 2, times c, negative 21, all over 2 times my a, 2. Okay, we drop that into Desmos, and then we get our two separate answers. Round to the nearest hundredth unless told otherwise. And notice the reminder down here, put the fraction in Desmos first. All right, so over to Desmos I go. All right, so it's working really hard. There we go, fraction. So we've got negative 3. Now Desmos doesn't do plus minus. Hit your plus sign first, square root. Negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 21, all over 2 times 2. All right, and the first answer I get is 4.08. 4.08. Go back and change this plus sign to a minus, and there's my second answer, negative 2.58. All right, off of Desmos. All right, and then the last piece I want to point out on this slide is the discriminant. That is just b squared minus 4ac. If you have a positive answer there, you have two solutions. 0 is one solution, and negative is 0 solutions. All right, one more look at graphing real quick. Reminder, if you are looking at a graph, the solutions are the x-intercepts. So in this case, x equals negative 3 and 1. All right, those are the ways we know for solving quadratics. Make sure you got good notes, you got everything in order, so you are ready for a test later on this week.